What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Sixers rundown, and wow, what a game. The Sixers take game one in Boston. Now that game was just incredible. I can't believe it came down to that at the stretch. James Harden was magnificent. I can't even put his performance into words. James Harden made almost every three, he was just throwing them up there, and they were going in. I didn't like some of the shots he took, but they ended up going in because he was just so hot that game. He did not go through a point where I was like, oh, he's going to miss this shot. I thought he was going to make every shot just by the way his mojo was so good in this game. I can't even put it into words. But the Sixers take game one in Boston. Biggest game of the series, really. Taking game one without Joel Embiid. You really can't ask much out of that. You can't ask much more from the 76ers than winning without your superstar on the road in Game 1 to open the series. Now, Joel Embiid, he's unsure for Game 2, so I'll maybe come out with a video before the Game 2 to see if he's going to be back in time. But right now, it's looking like he's not going to play. Doc Rivers said he's going to play it by ear to see if Embiid's going to be playing in Game 2. But right now, it's looking like a no. And if he is looking to get back, I would honestly sit him, because if you sit him and you lose, you're down 1-1, going back home with Joel Embiid on many days rest. So I would rather go in that approach than playing him and risk losing and going 1-1 anyway, and then Joel Embiid only getting about 2 to 3 days rest. So that's the way I look at playing him versus not playing him. But it looks like he's not going to play Game 2, but don't quote me on that. We're not very sure how he's going to do. But moving on from talking about Game 2, let's talk about James Harden and his amazing performance. I'm going to pull up the stat sheet right now. James Harden was 7 for 14 on his three-point opportunities, but that number looks all right. It's pretty good. He shot 50% from three-point range. The fourth quarter, he went off. He was making three after three. He's the reason we won the game at the end, because he was just chucking up shots and he was making all of his shots. He was 56.7% from field goal opportunities. He was 17 for 30. Like, what? This is Houston Rockets James Harden that we were witnessing yesterday. He tied a playoff career high with 45 points. And he just looked great. He played 40 minutes, so he's on the court almost the whole game. He made every free throw. He made 4 free throws. He also got 6 assists in there with 2 steals and a rebound. Like, he was doing it all yesterday. But the 45 points was so clutch. I mean, the Sixers, they won by 4, okay? They needed help without Joel Embiid. They needed that star power, and James Harden produced with that star power. Maxey's another guy that can look to produce with that star power, but tonight was James Harden's night. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to have a big Game 3 in Philly. That's why I predicted in the series preview. I think he's going to struggle a little bit in Game 2 tomorrow, but I think he's going to have a really good Game 3. But James Harden, this was James Harden's game. Once Joel Embiid plays, we don't need this version of James Harden, but in this game we did, and that is how we were barely able to escape with a Game 1 victory. Now let's go back and talk about Tyrese Maxey playing great down the stretch. I know we're all imagining Malcolm Brogdon throwing that pass to Tyrese Maxey. They all thought it was a shot clock violation. They all thought it was a shot clock violation. So including the Sixers and Celtics, they both stopped playing. But Tyrese Maxey ran down the court, got 2 points, and yeah, I believe that's what gave us the lead at one point. And that is what turned it around almost. I feel like that was the switch mentally for the Boston Celtics. After that, they weren't able to regroup and score on offense. They weren't able to come back in this game. But Tyrese Maxey, he made some good plays down the stretch. I remember that one where Marcus Smart was called for a block and they challenged it, so I was afraid they were going to overturn that. But it was a clear block by Marcus Smart. I don't know he didn't have his feet set. He was in Tyrese Maxey's zone without his feet set. So Tyrese Maxey was driving in, and Marcus Smart flopped like he usually does because he's bum. I hate Marcus Smart. I will say that a million times. Marcus Smart sucks. I hate him. He's one of my least favorite players in the league. He always flops. His green hair is hideous. And he blocked there. And so Tyrese Maxey picked up the 2, and he was able to finish off the 3-point play. And I believe that took us down. Yeah, that put us down 1. We were down by 4 at that point, and if that was called an offensive charge by Tyrese Maxey, that probably would have been the game. We probably wouldn't have been able to come back with the Celtics getting the ball and us down 4. But as we're on the topic of Maxey, let's talk about his three-point shooting. His three-point shooting was not good in the game yesterday. He went 2 for 9, and shooting overall, he went 10 for 24. I mean, 10 for 24 is not bad. That's a 41%. But he needs to be better from the three-point line if he's going to be taking all those shots. I've been talking about in previous rundowns how Tyrese Maxey wasn't getting enough opportunities with the ball. I guess with players like James Harden and Joel Embiid, that's why he didn't get those opportunities. But now that he's getting the opportunities with Joel Embiid injured, he needs to perform when he shoots the threes. 2 for 9 is a 22% three-point rating. That can't cut it. He did make 4 free throws in that game, and he also got 4 steals in that game, which you don't see. Steals is not a stat that a lot of players get around 5, and Tyrese Maxey with 4 steals, that's what you like. He's so quick, so if he can get a steal, then it's most likely he's taking 2 to the cup. Tyrese Maxey is just a really good player, and he played really good down the stretch. He had 26 points overall in that game, but he has to be better from the free throw or the 3-point line. But now we're talking about stats, so let's talk about every other player on the Sixers stats. Like Tobias Harris, he was 8 for 16 in field goals, so perfect 50%. Or not, well, I shouldn't say perfect. He was an even 50%. He made 2 3-pointers in there. No free throw attempts by Tobias Harris in that game, but he did 5 boards, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. He also had 18 points to go along with that. Now, PJ Tucker, he had 0 field goals made, 0 field goals attempted, but we don't need that from PJ Tucker. I told you, PJ Tucker is going to be that dog in the playoffs. He's not going to be scoring. He's not going to be that offensive powerhouse. He's going to be that defensive-minded guy who sets up players in a position to succeed. PJ Tucker got 2 offensive rebounds, 3 defensive rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and 0 points. Yeah, 0 points for PJ Tucker in that game, but he played really well defensively, and he was facilitating for his team, and he was putting them in positions to succeed. Now, Paul Reed. I'm going to talk about Paul Reed in a minute, so let's just keep going on to the other players. We talked about Tyrese Maxey and his stats. We talked about James Harden and his stats. Jalen McDaniels, he didn't make any. He didn't. I don't think he didn't score. He had 0 points in that game, but he did get a rebound. Jalen McDaniels didn't play that well yesterday, but he was just there defensively. DeAnthony Melton, he played really well. He was 6 for 10 in field goals, 5 for 6 in 3-pointers. So that's an 83% 3-point rate. That was pretty good. He did have an offensive rebound along with that and 2 assists. Also 2 blocks for DeAnthony Melton. That's an odd stat for a player like his stature, but he did record 2 blocks in that game, and 17 points in total. George Niang, he didn't play that much, 13 minutes, and he was able to record 3 points. But let's go back to Paul Reed now. Paul Reed was incredible. So he did not make a lot of field goal attempts. He made 4 attempts, made 3 of them. He scored 10 points in total, 13 rebounds, 4 of them on the offensive end, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. But his free throws, he was 4 for 4 in free throws made. And the reason why those free throws were so big was because it was in the clutch. They were all in the fourth quarter, and they were all when we needed them most. Paul Reed is not usually a free throw shooter. He doesn't always get to the line. He's usually more of a defensive-minded player, gets rebounds, and sets up guys for ways to succeed. But Paul Reed swished every single one of his free throws, and it was needed. If he missed one of them, it would have put us in a bad position. But he was able to make every one, and he swished them. It didn't even touch rim. It was a beautiful showing by Paul Reed, and that's why. And we talked about it in the preview. Me and my cousin Matt, we talked about it. Paul Reed needs to be that backup. He needs to step up when Joel Embiid is gone, or the Sixers are going to have trouble. Paul Reed getting 13 rebounds. Shout out to Paul Reed. I love Paul Reed. He's so good. B-Ball Paul. We ride with B-Ball Paul. All right, let's see what else we got to talk about. There's not much else in that game we have to talk about. I mean, James Harden just played magnificent. James Harden is the MVP of that game. Game 1 goes to James Harden. I will tell my kids one day about the James Harden 2023 Round 2 Game 1 against the Boston Celtics. They will be hearing about that forever. it was one of the best games I've watched as a Sixers fan. It was just so exciting and had me on the edge of my seat the whole game. So it makes me looking forward to Game 2. I'm really excited for Game 2. Last game at TD Gardens for until Game 5 when they go back to Boston after 2 games in Philly. So are the Sixers going to be able to pull up 2-0? I don't think so. If I was a bettor, I would probably bet the Celtics on this game, but I'm going to have hope for the Sixers because I just don't see the Celtics going down 2-0 to start the series, especially if Joel Embiid's not on the court. But if Joel Embiid's on the court, it would be very nice if the Sixers could take a commanding 2-0 lead against the Celtics. But even if we do go up 2-0, you can't automatically assume a win in the 7-game series because the Sacramento Kings went up 2-0 in their series and they ended up losing in 7 to the Warriors. So, I mean, winning 2 does guarantee you a better chance to make it to the next round, but it doesn't automatically make a win. Maybe getting 3 games in a row, starting off 3-0, that might guarantee a win because no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the playoffs before. So maybe that guarantees a win, but 2-0, you still got to battle and you still got to fight. So Sixers got to pick up. They were 1-1. We expected them to go 1-1 in Boston, try to go back to Philly and win both of them at home. But let's just see how they can do in Game 2, and then they can look forward to Game 3 and 4 in Philly. But that's going to do it for this rundown. I want to thank you guys for watching. I've had a lot of recent support on the channel, and I'm really liking this. I don't know where we are right now, but we're so close to 500 subscribers. If not, we are at 500 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button. Make sure to like this video so I know you guys like the rundowns. My cousin Matt's going to be back on sometime this weekend to talk about either Game 3 or 4 because he did really well and I like having him on. And the video got a lot of views. It was a pretty long one, but it was worth it. But yeah, make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you think's gonna what you thought about Game 1 and what you think's gonna happen about Game 2. But that's all I got today, and I'll see you guys in the next rundown.